There are always those things in life you look back on and you are so thankful that you did. Maybe it was a trip you took with your family. Maybe it was something you made, or perhaps a dream home you built. For me, it would have to be the giant Indian statue that me and my crew restored in the spring and summer of 2016. Few things in life compare to the amount of work and dedication we poured into this relic of 1960s Americana. And few things have brought the kind of satisfaction it gave us to set him back up on the Strip on August 12, 2016, in Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri. It always amazes me the pull and intrigue these fiberglass giants have over us. They have been attacked by city sign ordinance rules, called freaky looking, have scared the daylights out of small children, and yet there is a gravitational interest in them and a fondness that grows over the years as they stand silently at their posts. When they are finally taken down and hauled away, sometimes 50 years after being set up, the reaction is always the same. Like a longtime friend moving away forever, a comforting sight reminding you of your childhood that is now gone. It's always remorseful sadness of an opportunity missed to save the local giant landmark. For 45 years, the Indian chief had stood on the Strip, and on a cold January morning he was taken down. Would his fate be like so many others? Or would he come back again?
So here we are. We are loading up. We've finished base coating and clear coating. Now it's time for all the detail work. So now it's off to the airbrush shop. We've loaded up the legs, first time outside in quite a few weeks. And everyone's getting ready to haul him about 15 miles south of here, where he's going to go in for detailing and airbrush work. So we've got the legs loaded, and now we've got the torso to take down and load. And this, we're really being careful here because we put so much work into it at this point, and we don't want to scuff him up or damage him. So we got to be really careful in how we handle him and get him down there safely so the airbrush guy can start on his work.
So he's now standing up outside, first time in a long time that the torso's been out of the shop. Now's the scary part. We got to get him on the trailer between the legs without touching the tabs on the feet or either side of the torso as we stick him in.
Are you expecting perfect work from you here, sir?
Oh, yes, sir, Mr. Baker. You always know we'll get her done without no scratches.
Hey, it's Kurt Robinson from Airbrush Assassins. Working on a giant Muffler Man Indian. Started just kind of put a little bit of flesh tones in, trying to make them look a little bit more realistic, put a little bit of extra detail in that you don't usually see on these guys. He's quite the endeavor.
This Indian can come to life when you just start putting details. You know, the detail work is so important. You can paint him, but it's not until you put all the details on that he really comes to life. You can start to see his personality. We've got the eyes done, and now he's working on doing the braid and actually adding some hair that actually is going to flow down his chest a little bit, so it looks a little more natural.
A lot of airbrushing going on. I think my fingertips get a little bit sore. We're going to call it a day on him and start on him tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be doing all the feathers and all that stuff, and probably make my eyes cross, but it'll be well worth it.
After Kurt finished the airbrushing and we prepared the Indian for his return to the Lake of the Ozarks, it was hard to believe how far we'd come. It was hard to believe that the restoration was finally coming to an end. There had been times during the endless sanding and spider crack repair that it seemed we would never get him done. Yet, persistent effort over time had completely transformed the giant from a tired-looking Indian with peeling paint to one that looked like he was made brand new the week before. The crew met up at Kurt's shop for final assembly and packing for the trip home.
The guy pushed together, got them all wrapped up to protect him as we're putting them together. We're going to go inside, bolt them together for transport.
August 12, 2016 was the day we had all been waiting for. We arrived on site at 8 in the morning, and the Indian arrived shortly after. Iguana was ready for us and had 2 cranes standing by to help lift the muffler man back into place. First order of business was to put in the steel support structure we had made for him, and that took a few hours to get bolted down and everything lined up correctly.
It's been a long, hot morning here. We've been putting Chief Bagnell back together. Most of the work's been on the inside to get all the internal structure bolted together, so it's really not much you can see, just a lot of internal work. We finally got all that done. The guys now are putting on the arms and bolting it to the statue. We're getting close. Pretty soon we're going to be ready to start lifting him up back into position here after actually since January, so it's been 8 months that he's been down. We're getting close now. We're getting the cranes and the skylift into position. The Indian's ready to go. He's ready to be picked. So everything's been moved. And we're just going to strap him up, and then we'll start to lift him up in the air and set him down where he used to stand.
The moment of truth was when the Indian was free hanging from the lift and we were moving him forward into position. The giant started to bounce a bit with the movement, and the engineering of the internal structure was put to the test. The Indian held together perfectly, and almost 1,000 pounds was set gently down on his former footprints. After the Indian was bolted down to the concrete, it was time to remove the protective covering we had put on him for transport and setup. As the local crowd watched, we slowly worked our way up the giant, removing one blanket at a time. For us, the crew, who spent so many hours restoring him, it was the most rewarding moment. As Michael removed the final blanket, the crowd clapped and we knew our job was finally done. Once again, Chief Bagnell stood on the strip, and we knew we had just extended his life for many years to come. Although we restored the giant, he wasn't just saved by American giants. He was saved by all of those in the community who cared so much about him and gave so much encouragement during his restoration. He was saved by Iguana, who took notice of him and saw what he could be behind the peeling paint and cracked fiberglass. Their vision to restore him and bring him back is what really saved the Indian. We also played our part with the hours of labor and attention to every detail we put into him, and it was well worth the effort. As the sun set and we drove away, the Indian seemed to wave his thanks. That's what it's all about, saving these roadside attractions, one giant at a time.